everybody, my name is Jessie and this is Twinkie and we're here at Party Animals and I have lots of animals I'm going to show you, but we're going to start right here with Twinkie. Twinkie is a red-headed Amazon. She is a parrot, she's about 8 years old and she will live to be about 80 years old. Now she can talk, but I can't make her talk. And then when she starts talking, you know what happens? I can't make her stop. She gets very, very loud. But she says things like, hello, I love you, how are you? And sometimes she even blows kisses, but only when she feels like it. Can you say hello? Say hello? Nope, nothing. Now, how do we know a bird is a bird? What makes a bird a bird? A lot of people think it's the beak, but it's not the beak because believe it or not, squid, octopus, and turtles all have a beak. It's not the wings because bats have wings. It's not even because they can fly, because some birds can't fly, like the penguin and the ostrich. Now, do you guys want to see another bird? This is Mango. And Mango is another bird, and she is a parakeet. Now, the difference between parrots and parakeets, obviously, is the size. Parakeets are usually much smaller, where parrots are much bigger. Also, parakeets don't live quite as long as a parrot will. Mango here will live to be about 20 years old. She's also not as vocal as a parrot. She can make lots of noises, she does a lot of singing, but she doesn't talk as much as parrots do. Now, do you guys want to see another bird? This is Mr. Bun Bun, and obviously that's not a bird because they don't have feathers. Mr. Bun Bun is covered in lots of soft fur. Now, Mr. Bun Bun is obviously a rabbit, and he is a mammal. Now, mammals have fur, just like lions and tigers and bears and cats and dogs. And us, we're mammals, and we have fur, but we don't call our fur fur. We call it hair. Now, we're going to put these guys away, and I've got another mammal to show you. This mammal has fur, but this mammal has the softest fur in the entire world. This is Chi-Chi, and Chi-Chi is a chinchilla. Now, chinchillas used to live high up in the mountains where it's very, very cold. So they developed this thick fur coat to keep themselves warm. But what happened is a long, long time ago, we found out about that thick fur coat, and we wanted it for ourselves. So we started going into the mountains and taking this animal out of the mountains to make fur coats out of them. It takes 300 to 500 chinchillas to make one fur coat. So they almost went extinct, just like the dinosaurs, gone forever. But we still wanted the fur coats. So we went to the wild and we started looking and looking and looking, and you know what happened? We could only find 12 chinchillas left. So we took the last 12 chinchillas and we took them out of the wild and we put them on chinchilla farms. To this day, if you go to the mountains, you will not find a chinchilla in the wild. They do not live in the wild anymore. They only live on chinchilla farms, but now we have hundreds and thousands of them because you know what we found out? They make much better pets than they do fur coats. All right, now what I want you guys to do at home is try and find one hair on your head. Because where you have that one hair, Chi-Chi has 50 hairs. That's how thick their fur coat is. It's so thick that they can never get wet. If they get wet, they will not dry and they will not feel as soft as they do now. So instead of taking a bath with water, they have to take a dust bath. So if you have a pet chinchilla at home, you have to go to the pet store and buy dust. And they roll it in the dust, and the dust takes all the dirt and oil out of their skin, and that's how they stay so clean and soft. All right, now for my next animal, I want you guys to come over here because I can't take this animal out because they just had babies. But I do want to see if we can peek in and see them without disturbing. This is another mammal, but this mammal doesn't have soft fur like the bunny and the chinchilla. They have hard fur. This, oh, there he is. Oh my goodness. This is Sonic and his family, and they are hedgehogs. Now right there, that is a baby hedgehog, and they're called hoglets. Now when they're born, they're actually very soft and their quills aren't hard. But what happens is, after a couple days, their quills start to get harder. And when they grow up, they'll have about 5,000 quills all over their body. Isn't he cute? These guys are only about a week old, and we don't want to disturb them. Oh, you're a good mama, huh? Good job, guys. There's about 5 babies in there, and they'll stay with their mommy and daddy for about 3 to 4 weeks until they learn to forage for themselves, and then they'll go on their own. Now, these guys are South African pygmy hedgehogs, so they're all the way from South Africa. And the people in South Africa love these guys because they like to eat scorpions and poisonous snakes. Oh my goodness. They're so cute. They like to eat scorpions and poisonous snakes. They're immune to the venom, which means the venom doesn't hurt them like it hurts us. So the people in Africa love these little guys because they get rid of all the things that hurt us. All right, now I want to show you something different, okay? Now we saw my bird with feathers. We saw the mammoth with fur. Now we're gonna see a reptile. All right, now this is Baby Spike. And Baby Spike is a baby bearded dragon. Now these guys live in the desert of Australia. And obviously they're not a real dragon. They don't breathe fire or fly, so we're all safe. But they call them a bearded dragon because when they get angry, they puff up their neck like a big black beard. Now this is Baby Spike, and this is Big Spike. Now why do you think we call them Spike? Because if you look closely, they have all these spikes. But I'm going to tell you guys a secret. These spikes, they're actually not spiky at all. They're actually pretty soft. But what they do is in the desert, if they see something flying up above that might want to eat them, they're going to flatten themselves out and blend in with the sand, and then all these spikes are going to look really spiky. So whatever might want to eat them isn't going to eat them because they don't want to. They don't want to get hurt. Look, they'll sit right on my shirt, just like a button. All right, now I want to show you guys another reptile. This is Wilma. And Wilma is a tortoise. Now she's a red tortoise. Now, if I put her down on the ground, do you think she'll be fast or will she be slow? Let's see. She's pretty slow. And that's because tortoises have no reason to be fast. They are strictly vegetarians, which means they only eat plants, fruits, and vegetables, so they don't have to chase their food. And that shell is not only their home, but it's also their protection. So in the wild, if something were trying to eat them, they don't have to run away. They just stick their head in their legs into the shell and sit there like a rock. Now, like I said, she's a tortoise. She's not a turtle. Now, the difference between turtles and tortoises are tortoises like Wilma here live on the land. Turtles can live in the water. If I were to put her in the water right now, she would go right to the bottom like a big rock. Her shell is much too heavy to go into the water. And if you look at her feet look more like elephant feet because they're made for walking on land and digging holes, where turtles have webbed feet like a duck because they're made for swimming. Now, Wilma here is about 50 years old. And these guys will live to be about 100. Now, do you want to see what she looked like when she was a baby? This is baby Willis. And this guy is about 4 years old. And he's going to grow up to look just like his mom. And we want to see what he looked like when he was a baby. This is baby Willis. And he's only about a year old. Super cute and super tiny. All right, do you guys want to meet Willis's best friend? This is Petey. And Petey and Willis are best friends because Petey likes to sit right on Willis's back. They hang out. See? Now, Petey is a frog, but Petey isn't just any frog. He's a tree frog. So because he's a tree frog, his feet are super sticky. Come here, let's show them. See that? And if you look close, it kind of looks like he has little suction cups on the tips of his toes. Now, if you have one as a pet, it's not good to really pet them because the oils on our fingers could actually damage his skin. They don't live in the water like most frogs. They, like I said, they live up in the trees. But they do live in moist environments, so they do need to keep damp. And if you look at his back, it looks really shiny and wet, but he's actually very dry. Now, these guys do eat bugs, but when you think of a frog eating, how do they usually eat? With their long, sticky tongue. But this guy doesn't use his long, sticky tongue. He actually, if he sees a bug on the ground, he's going to jump out of the tree, mouth wide open, and land right on top of him. That's it. I actually have a cricket right here, so let's see if he'll eat it. These guys won't eat anything if it doesn't move. It has to move. Do you want it? Ooh! He scared me. I didn't think he was going to take it. Did you see that? Awesome. All right. We're going to put these guys away. Before I take out this next animal, I want to ask you guys a question. Who has seen the movie Tangled? Who remembers Rapunzel's boyfriend that's up right on his shoulder? This is Pascal. And Pascal is a veiled chameleon. Now, do they change colors? Yes. Do they change colors like we see on TV? No. Unfortunately, it's not that cool. So if I were to put him on a blue shirt, he's not going to turn blue. He's not going to turn purple or polka dots or tie-dye. It doesn't happen like that. It depends on his mood. So if he were to be angry, he'd start to turn real black. It also depends on the temperature around him. So on a really hot day, he's going to be super bright colors. And on a colder day, he's going to be darker colors. So he absorbs the sun and he heats himself up. Now, take a look at his feet. It kind of looks like all of his toes are glued together. So he holds on to things like this, like a claw. He can hold on so well that if he were up in a tree on a windy day and the tree blew over, he would not fall out of the tree. See that? And not only does he have those 4 really strong feet, but he also has what's called a prehensile tail, which means he can hold on to things with his tail just like a monkey. So he's not falling out of any trees. Now, what do you think these guys eat? Bugs. And how do they catch the bugs? With their long tongue. Their tongue is actually as long as his entire body, including his tail. That's how long his tongue is. So if he saw a bug sitting here on my shoulder and he was all the way back here, he wouldn't even have to move to get it. He just throws out that long sticky tongue and he grabs it. Another really cool thing about these guys are their eyes. Their eyes can move in all different directions at the same time. So one can be looking up while the other one is looking down. One can be looking behind him while the other one is looking forward. And he doesn't even have to move his head to do it. See? Now, like I said, he's a veiled chameleon. There are over 1,000 different species of chameleons. The biggest one is probably about the size of a dinner plate. And the smallest one can sit on the tip of your pinky. But this is a veiled chameleon. They're the most popular type of chameleons to keep as pets. Okay, now this is Boris. And Boris is a rose-haired tarantula. Let's see if we can take him out. Now, is he an insect? No. How many legs does an insect have? 6. How many legs does Boris have? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he is not an insect. He's something called an arachnid. Now, he also has a shell, okay? Just like an egg. So if I were to actually drop him right now, he could crack like an egg and die. He is in much more danger of us than we are of him. Now, the 2 questions I get about Boris. Does he have fangs? Yes. Does he have poison in those fangs? Yes. And actually, he's not going to use his poison or his fangs on me. So I really have nothing to worry about. I'm not food for him. If I were to be bothering him right now, he would take his 2 back legs and rub them together and all this hair on his shell would go into my face and make me very itchy, and I'd put him down. That's it. And if he were to bite me, it's no worse than a bee sting. So that's Boris. Now, if you take a closer look, these two things right here that look like legs actually aren't legs. He uses them to grab his food and put it into his mouth. Look, he's waving. Hi. All right, so that's Boris. We're gonna put Boris away, and I'm gonna show you guys another furry animal. This is Daphne, and Daphne is a ferret. Now, ferrets are very smart and very playful. And if you have one as a pet, you have to play with them all the time, because you know what happens if you don't? They get bored. And you know what they do when they get bored? They will find your favorite toy or your car keys or your favorite piece of jewelry, and they will hide them in places you can never get to. Because not only are they very smart, can we show them? They're also very flexible. So they can get into any tiny little place in your house. They squeeze into spots that you would never even think of. Now, Daphne likes to dance. You guys want to see her dance? This is how she dances. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! But she also loves to be held like a baby and get her tummy rubbed. Right? Now, ferrets have a very unusual odor. They are related to a lot of other animals. They're related to the otter, which means they're very good swimmers. They're related to one of the most ferocious animals, the wolverine, and they're related to something else. They're related to the skunk. Now, they can't spray like a skunk, but they always have a stinky odor that even if you gave them a bath every single day, you'll never be able to get rid of it. And if you give them a bath every single day, it could actually make it worse. Give kisses. All right. Everybody say bye, Daphne. Bye, Daphne. Okay, now for my next animal, we have to try and be quiet. That means you too, Cody. Because not only does this animal have pretty big ears, but she has really big eyes, and there's something called nocturnal. Now that means they sleep all day and they're awake all night. So in order for me to show her to you, I'm gonna have to wake her up, okay? But maybe if we give her some corn, she'll forgive us. So let's see. This animal is named for the two things she likes to do. They like to eat sweet sugary foods, like the sap off of trees and sweet corn, and they can fly. This is Willow, and Willow is a sugar glider. There you go. Now, sugar gliders do fly, but they don't fly like a bird flies. They don't have wings. What they have is a flap of skin that goes from their hand all the way down to their foot. And then what they do is when they fly, they open up their arms, they catch a good breeze, and they glide. These guys can actually glide up to 300 feet. And look at this long tail. They use that like a steering wheel. They move it in the direction that they want to go. Now, Willow is something called a marsupial. That means they don't carry their babies inside their tummy. They carry them outside of their tummy in a pouch, just like a kangaroo. Kangaroo, koala bears, wallabies, wombats, sugar gliders, they are all marsupials, and all marsupials live in Australia, except for one that lives right here in our backyard. You guys know what it is? It's the possum. The possum is the only marsupial that doesn't live in Australia. It lives right here, and actually, in Australia, they don't call these guys sugar gliders, they call them tree possums. And see, she's using her hands to eat the corn. Say hi, Willow. See, she's happy if she gets her little treat. All right, we're gonna put Willow back so she could go back to sleep. And I've got some more animals for you guys. Here's my next animal. This is Mushu. And Mushu is a Chinese water dragon. Now, don't let the name fool you. They actually don't live in the water. What they do is they live high up in the trees. But when they see a predator or something that might want to hurt them, they're going to jump out of the tree, dive underwater, where they can hold their breath for about 30 minutes. And then once they know it's safe, they come out of the water and back up into the tree. These guys are something called an insectivore. What do you think that means? That means they only eat insects. Insectivore. Now these guys can do something called tonic immobility. That means if you put him on his back, he's gonna fall asleep. See? It doesn't hurt them. It's kind of like hypnotizing them or playing dead. Other animals that can do this are sharks and alligators. Right? All right, we're gonna put Mushu back so you can go back to sleep. Say bye, Mushu. Now, my next guy is super tiny. This is a millipede. And now, although the word millipede means thousands of legs, most millipedes have less than 100. They are completely harmless, and although they look like a worm or an insect, they're more closely related to shrimp and crayfish. There are over 1,400 different kinds of millipedes in the United States. And like I said, they are harmless. You really shouldn't pick them up in the wild though, because they do have a chemical that they can release into your skin that'll make your skin itchy. Millipedes are nocturnal, which means they sleep during the day and they are awake at night. They live in dark, damp environments and they eat plants. And if you look close at his face, you can see he's actually kind of cute. All right, so that is a millipede. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, now here's my next animal. And actually when I show it to you, you might be like, why are you showing me a stick? But this isn't just a stick, this is a stick bug. Named because they look like a tree branch. Now these guys live in trees and their predators are a lot of animals. A lot of different birds and reptiles will try and eat this guy. That's why he looks like a stick, so he can get away from all the other animals. Now they can regenerate their limbs. That means if one of his legs falls off, he'll grow another one. So he can sacrifice the limb to get away from predators. So he can lose it and it'll just grow back. These guys are herbivores, which means they eat only plants and vegetables. They'll live to be about 2 years old. And there are over 3,000 different species of stick bugs. The largest one being about 12 inches long. So these guys are pretty cool. And they look just like a stick. All right, this is a vingaroon or a whiptail scorpion. They're called a whiptail scorpion because they don't have a stinger like most scorpions. What these guys do is, to defend themselves, they will release a liquid that smells like vinegar to chase their prey away. Now this is the only species of whiptail scorpions found in North America. You can find other types of whiptail scorpions in places like Asia and Africa and the deserts. These guys eat crickets and other large insects and are usually pretty harmless. There he is. All right, we're gonna put him away. I've got a couple more animals for you guys. My next animal is just a baby. So when I take him out, I need everybody to say, "Aww," because you know what happens if we don't? He's gonna get upset. We don't want that, right? All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Aww. Now, this is a baby. It just happens to be a baby snake. Even though this is a baby boa constrictor. Now, right now, this guy is very cute and very tiny, but he's going to grow to be over 10 feet long and weigh well over 100 pounds. So he's going to be a very large snake one day. Now, do snakes have a nose? No. So how do they smell if they don't have a nose? Their tongue. And if you see him sticking out his tongue, he's not being rude, he's just smelling the air. I think he's coming to say hi. Now, do snakes have ears? No. So how do they hear? Well, they don't really. They sense vibration on their stomach. So if he's slithering around on the ground and he feels a really big vibration, he's going to slither away real fast because obviously it's something much bigger than him. But if it's a small vibration, he might stick around because it might be dinner. Now, can I tell you guys a secret? This is the secret to holding snakes. Are you ready? You don't hold snakes. You let the snake hold you. If you notice, I haven't held him the entire time he's been out. He's holding on to me. So for all the reasons, I'm a tree. And trees aren't food, so there's no reason to bite a tree. So you just let him do his thing. Okay. Now, I have another snake to show you guys. It's Charlie. And Charlie is a corn snake. Now, you can find these guys right here in the United States, mostly in the South, Florida, Mississippi, Tennessee. And they are very brightly colored snakes. And I think that's how they got their name. They say they resemble brightly colored corn. These guys eat mostly small rodents, but they will also eat birds and their eggs. This guy and my next snake are some of the most popular snakes to keep as pets because they don't get very large and they're usually very docile. This is Celia, and Celia is a ball python. Now, why do they call her a ball python? Because what do they do when they get scared? They curl up into a ball. That's it. Nothing to be afraid of. They're usually more afraid of us than we are of them. Now, Celia will get a little bit bigger, but not much. Can we uncoil you and show how big you are? See? Now, usually in the snake world, the girls are bigger than the boys. These guys will grow to be about, a male ball python will grow to be about 4 to 5 feet, and girls can grow up to 6 feet, but that's about it. Now, of course, these guys eat larger rodents. She'll eat a rat. And they're very calm snakes. All right? Now, I have one more animal for you. And this animal is super special. So we're going to put our snakes away. And I'm going to go get Wasabi. All right. Now, here's Wasabi. Wasabi is a green iguana. Now, what happened to Wasabi, unfortunately, happens to a lot of animals. Because you can go into any pet store and buy a baby green iguana, and they're about this big, and they're really cute and really tiny. But what happens is they start to grow, and they grow, and they grow. And that's what happened to Wasabi. Somebody went to the pet store and bought that baby green iguana, and he started to grow and grow and grow. And then they didn't want him anymore. So you know what they did? They released him in a park in New York City. Is that good or bad? Bad, very bad. Obviously, iguanas do not live in New York City. They are reptiles, and all reptiles are cold-blooded, which means they need lots of sun and lots of heat to keep themselves warm. So he would have never survived a New York City winter. And that is why it's so important before you go out and get any animal to do your research. Read lots of books, go on the computer, find out everything you can about that animal. Because you need to know what it eats, you need to know what kind of cage it needs, you need to know how big they're going to get. Because Wasabi's not even done growing. These animals can grow to be up to 6 feet long. So he could be a very large lizard one day. Right? You got a piece of my hair in your mouth. Where's this orange? Let's see if he wants a piece of orange. Here. No? You don't want to? Oh, he's closing his eyes. All right, he's not hungry. All right, guys, Wasabi is my last animal. Thank you, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and I hope everybody's staying safe. Bye.